Welcome back to Getting On to Business, the show all about small business jobs and entrepreneurship. We're back on the show, and I'm thrilled to be joined by a content marketing and SEO expert. He's going to teach us what SEO is all about. He's the founder at the Agency Guide. It's John Bertino. John, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me. Really glad to be here.
Absolutely. It's such a pleasure to have you. So I love to get to know the person behind the microphone. Can you introduce yourself for our listeners, please?
Sure. My name's John Bertino. I'm the founder and CEO of a unique marketing consultancy out of Philadelphia called The Agency Guide.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you, John, and you have quite a background in the agency space where I know you've been consulting with clients on SEO and marketing campaigns. So I'd love to start by introducing your story of how you got fascinated by this whole world of marketing and especially internet marketing where you are the subject matter expert. Why are you so passionate about it, and what's your secret to success?
Yeah, sure. So I think to start, as much as my roots and background in marketing are in SEO and search engine optimization, these days, through my consultancy, we're consulting on a whole lot more than just search. And so for context for the listeners, TAG, or the Agency Guide, is a unique consultancy that looks to essentially matchmake brands with marketing agencies that are an ideal and optimal fit for their specific needs. And so we're providing essentially pro bono or no cost consulting to brands on a regular basis to advise on marketing channel selection, what reasonable investments and expectations in those channels looks like. And when we're aligned on those things, ultimately matchmake them with one of the 200 or so different agencies we represent. And so when you ask about what kind of makes me passionate and how I got into this in the first place, there's legitimate vindication and a great feeling of success that comes with taking a business that's kind of struggling to find their ways through the different aspects of marketing and understand what's what and how to make sense of it all and what channels to choose, and to be able to consult with them and advise them in a truly unbiased and objective way, which is something that I think most brands really struggle to find when they reach out to any specific marketer or marketing consultant. A lot of individuals have been burned, or they're just inexperienced, or they're too busy to take the time to find the right agency, and as a result, they're getting a lot of biased advice throughout the process, and not necessarily investing in the channels that make the most sense for them. So, as I said, we get a lot of pride and satisfaction out of what we're doing on a daily basis.
Absolutely. And I know, John, one of the things that makes you stand out is also who you are as a person. Again, I'm chatting with John Bertino, the founder of the Agency Guide, also known as TAG, which is a collective of seasoned marketing executives determined to help your company source the best marketing team possible. And what I mean by that, John, is I know that you are super involved in community teaching and mentoring through numerous organizations that you're involved in Southern California, which I think is absolutely awesome. So I don't want you to give all of the secrets of the trade over here, but what have you seen in businesses that do it really darn well when it comes to search engine optimization and when it comes to online marketing, and that frankly are being successful versus companies that are just trying but maybe not hitting the mark?
Sure. I think, specifically speaking to small businesses, right? Because when you're mid or large size and you've got, lots of budget to work with, it makes it obviously much easier to test different marketing channels and, fail at things and then just try different channels. But when you're a small business, every dollar really counts, right? So what I have seen for small businesses that are really getting it right is being really smart in particular about how they weight their investments across earned or paid media, right? And so a quick marketing history lesson, back to the early days of marketing at university, they'll teach you that there's three major types of media: paid, earned, and owned. And so all marketing really can fall into these categories. So with owned media being everything that you own and manage directly, your website, your social media, what have you; paid media being any aspect of marketing where you just pay for ad space or pay for visibility; and earned media being the type of marketing that gets viewership and eyeballs that you earn through some type of third party typically. And so again, brands that are really getting it right have a good feel for this, and they know that their owned media is only as good as their ability to drive traffic to it. So your website's only as productive and effective as your ability to actually drive people to it. And your options for driving people are basically paid and earned media, as I said earlier. And so really being able to think through the pros and cons of those two different aspects of marketing, paid and earned, and having a good grip on that, I find really helps steer overarching marketing strategy and overarching marketing investments. And so on the paid side of things, you have the ability to get a lot of eyeballs very quick. You have the ability to run a lot of cohesive tests and detailed tests around what you're doing. But on the flip side, you're just an advertiser. You don't accumulate any trust. You don't build a moat around your business, and your visibility is only rented. What's interesting is that earned media is the polar opposite of this, in that earned media, you are able to build a lot of trust. You are able to build a moat, but you can't run a lot of controlled tests, and you can't count on a quantifiable amount of eyeballs, visibility, and ROI right out of the gate. And so when you really look and kind of study the juxtaposition of these two things and how they work in tandem and cross-reference it against your owned media and its ability to convert traffic, therein lies kind of the secret, I would say, to small businesses maximizing their marketing investments.
Well, that's fantastic. That's great advice right there. And again, I can now point to some of the examples that I've seen that are memorable, and I guess memorable being a key word, and that's what I know you're aiming for with all of your clients of the Agency Guide. But speaking of clients, I'd be curious to know any success stories that you and your colleagues at the Agency Guide are most proud of, businesses that you've been able to make stand out and, as you say, bring clarity in a crowded marketing agency landscape.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for asking that. We've been doing this for 8 years now, matchmaking brands with agencies. And through that process, we really have worked with all different sizes, and to this day still do work with plenty of small business, bootstrap startups, as well as every once in a while coming across a truly enterprise, large, even publicly traded company. And we've worked with everything in between. So, on the notable level, brands that people may have heard of, we worked with Jenny Craig to help them source and find their marketing agency of choice. We worked with TGW, one of the largest e-commerce golf retailers, that they were one of the first brands we worked with 8 years ago. And to this day, they're still with that same agency. We've worked with a billion-dollar publicly traded circuit board company whose name I won't mention, but they're massive in the space. And then yet at the same time, as I said, even to this day, I'm having calls with, plumbers to local attorneys, and as I said, everything in between. There's actually quite a few testimonials from brands people will recognize right on our Facebook page, which is at the Agency Guide or Agency Guide HQ, where you can see other testimonials and brands we've worked with.
Well, awesome. Fantastic. And that's a perfect segue as we start to come to the conclusion of our conversation over here. Of course, I would be surprised if you didn't have a fantastic brand presence yourself online. And I no doubt all of our listeners are nodding their heads furiously, wanting to take down every single note from everything that you, John Bertino of the Agency Guide, has been sharing, because this, I know, is information that's relevant to big businesses, small businesses, and everybody in between. So how can we get in touch with you and your fantastic team to learn more and start, making the most of our remaining months in 2022?
Sure. So you can find us online at theagencyguide.com and on social at Agency Guide HQ. And I would say this to businesses out there that, across the team of 5 consultants we have in-house, we're consulting on just about every area of marketing, from SEO to true and deep branding engagements, digital paid media, influencer marketing. And we have different consultants on our team that guide brands through that process, and they can speak intelligently and in depth about those different areas of marketing expertise. And that allows us to better understand your specific needs and then connect you to one of the, as I said, vetted agencies we represent, of which right now is about 200.
Powerful stuff right there from John Bertino, content marketing and SEO expert, the founder of the Agency Guide. And again, all-around great guy who's doing some great things in the community. We're proud of all that you're doing. Can't wait to have you back on real soon. Again, your website, theagencyguide.com, theagencyguide.com. And frankly, if you Google it, I know everything is all over the web with some great advice and expertise. We've got to squeeze in a quick break, some headlines, commercials here on the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. You're listening to Get Down to Business. Get on my website, website, shalomklein.com. That's a good number of the past 8+ years. The show is all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. And check out our sponsors, Tom Mirabali from HealthPlanChicago.com. So quick break here and get down to business. We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.